One of the questions that my interviewer asked for applying the position of principal or as a school principal with regard to operational and situational in the school setting is how much do you know about this school's improvement plan? What do you think you can contribute to that plan? How do you see that? How do principals typically implement school improvement plans? But before that, let's take first the situations wherein generally school improvement plan or SIP has requirement that vary from state to state. But their unifying purpose is to document goals, strategies, and action steps that aim to improve the quality of education students receive. School improvement plan goals are generally aligned to outcome measures on statewide assessments. The big question is what makes a good school improvement plan? Put your most recent school improvement plan. Now look at the goals. More than likely, you will find students' achievement targets like 30% increase, proficiency increase in math, proficiency, and so on. Now, how you might find much more reasonable targets like 4% and 6% increases in math proficiency, in science proficiency, respectively. These targets are truly a shot in the dark without substantial goals, action steps, and strategies. But when the targets are goals, action steps, and strategies, chances are they were written by a principal without teacher input. They might have been provided by school authorities to include this is unacceptable dooms school improvement from the outset. Now, how do principals typically improve school improvement plans? In the majority of school improvement efforts, the principal takes responsibility for the action steps online in an improvement plan himself. The principal might also delegate specific tasks without responsibility for the larger goal from which the task is connected. How many times have you seen or been on receiving end of a do this, of a do that, mailed or sent by the principal? I will suggest 5 critical strategies missing from most school improvement plans. Looking themselves as one man force in the school. He can do everything. He can play everything. That is the scenario nowadays. The first strategy I'm going to suggest is distributed response system. This distributed system is also dissemination of responsibilities. Begins shifting from a hero leader to empowering your team to take some ownership from school improvement goals. Hero leadership means a principal takes on the burden and responsibility by himself. It is not a system for true school improvement because it is heavily reliant on one individual. Do any principals you know come to mind? It's heart wrenching to think about how many hours the school leaders work to lead improvement, the personal sacrifices they make to the detriment of their families, and the damage they do to their physical and mental health. We have to change that style. So, how do you start with distributed leadership? At a minimum, school improvement plan goals must include the individuals responsible for each action step, for its goal, and you must leave the task management associated with this action step to the individuals responsible. The planning process should begin months before a year, new school year starts. Now, for example, the Department of Education plans to return the opening of the classes is still on June. We will start June. We will not follow anymore the American opening of the classes, but we have to start all over again the Filipino style because they use that on June. June. Okay. In this action step, the responsible party is clearly identified. Along with the task that he is committing to fulfill, we have the involvement of each stakeholders, involvement of teachers, parents, and so on, to begin to distribute leadership to others besides the principal himself. That's why it is called distributed system. Disseminate responsibilities. Number two, monitor on a weekly basis rather than on a biannual basis. Weekly basis. Don't stop there. If you distribute or disseminate responsibilities, you have to look on what a particular goal for improvement that is tied to progress. Okay? You might be thinking, don't already have a goal because you disseminate, you don't have any more problems. No. For most schools currently in turnaround, progress monitoring data is limited to twice per year. For example, semestral by SEM. What if you look, for example, weekly basis? How do you do that? How do you check? How do you metric that? First, what is your target? The task alignment. For example, weekly classroom visits. For example, 65% achievement for coaching, for example. So there is a weekly basis monitoring or evaluation, or not evaluation, or observation. Number three, documented process rather than relying on verbal document. Yes, it is true that school improvement is what we desire. We must develop mature systems that can succeed regardless of the individual, regardless of that person, of that, you know, avoid overdependence on talented individuals. The aim of distributed system is to make them responsible, part of our school improvement plan. Regardless of the circumstances, we look back on what particular responsibilities and metrics for weekly progress monitoring are successful, on what particular mm, ways on how to develop them as leaders in creating documented process that any person can use, refine, and pass on. Even as the team adds and loses members over time, the hard work of improving student outcomes continues. And then get feedbacks on progress toward the goal. Imagine you ask for this, you ask for that of one person, what happens? There is stress. There is what you call breaching out the different, elements. So, how do you improve? So, we will continue this next. Bye.